The distress signal, the stars were silent witnesses. In the depths of the Cenari expanse, where trade routes thinned and patrol ships rarely ventured, the TSS Lumeria drifted peacefully through the black. She was a research vessel, unarmed, unarmored, built for discovery rather than war. Her hull gleamed white against the void, marked with the flowing script of the Chiral Confederation, a coalition of peaceful species dedicated to science and knowledge. Inside, Dr. Vena stood before a viewport, her four eyes reflecting distant stars. The Chiral were a gentle people, tall, slender, with crystalline skin that shimmered faintly in low light. They had never known war. Their history was written in theorems and poetry, not battles. Beautiful, isn't it? Her colleague, researcher Thane, said softly beside her. Out here you can almost believe the galaxy is kind. Vena's mandibles clicked in what passed for a smile among her kind. Almost. The bridge was quiet, filled with the soft hum of instruments and the occasional chirp of a scanning array. 15 scientists, 3 engineers, 2 pilots, 20 souls who believed the universe rewarded curiosity with wonder. They were wrong. The first impact came without warning. The Lumeria shuddered violently, throwing Vena against the viewport. Alarms shrieked. Emergency lighting bathed everything in crimson. She stumbled to her feet, her translator barely keeping pace with the panicked voices around her. We're under attack. Shields, we don't have shields. 3 ships closing fast, raider configuration. Through the viewport, Vena saw them, jagged vessels painted in rust and scorch marks bristling with weapons. The Kresh marauders, pirates who haunted the frontier, preying on the weak and undefended. Another blast rocked the ship. Hull plating screamed. Somewhere below, a bulkhead collapsed. Captain Morven, the Lumeria's elderly commander, gripped his console with trembling hands. Hail them. Offer our cargo, our research data, anything. The communications officer's voice cracked. They're not responding, Captain. They're not here to negotiate because they weren't. The Kresh didn't take prisoners. They took trophies. Vena's heart hammered in her chest. Around her, scientists who had spent their lives studying nebulas and quantum fields now faced something their books never prepared them for. The simple, brutal reality of violence. Engines are failing, the pilot shouted. We can't outrun them. Captain Morven closed his eyes. When he opened them, there was resignation there and something else, determination. Send a distress signal. Broad spectrum. Maximum range. Captain, no one patrols this sector. No one will. Send it anyway. The communications officer's fingers danced across her console. Moments later, a pulse of energy radiated outward from the dying ship, carrying a simple message in 17 languages. This is the TSS Lumeria. We are under attack. Coordinates embedded. We are unarmed civilians, please. If anyone can hear this, help us. The signal raced through the darkness at the speed of light, growing weaker with every passing second. It swept past dead asteroids and ancient debris fields. It whispered through the cold void where no one had traveled in years, and then, impossibly, something heard it. 400,000 kilometers away. The TNV Resolute cut through space like a blade. She was small by Terran Navy standards, a patrol corvette, lean and efficient. But what she lacked in size, she made up for in speed and the skill of her crew. 28 men and women who had volunteered for frontier duty, who knew that out here, you were often the only help available. On the bridge, Captain Mira Solon stood before the tactical display, her sharp eyes scanning readouts. She was young for a captain, 34, with close-cropped dark hair and the kind of focused intensity that made her crew feel safe even in the worst situations. Captain, Lieutenant Chen called from communications. I'm picking up something. Long-range distress call, badly degraded. Mira's head snapped toward him. Play it. The bridge fell silent as Vena's voice filled the space. Desperate, terrified, already resigned to death. Please. If anyone can hear this, help us. Chen brought up the coordinates. It's deep in the expanse, Captain. 40 minutes at maximum burn. There's no fleet assets within 6 hours of that position. Mira stared at the blinking marker on the display. Officially, they were supposed to report this up the chain of command, wait for orders, follow protocol. But protocol took time, and time was something those people didn't have. She thought of her daughter back on Earth, 7 years old, with her mother's eyes and her father's laugh. Mira had joined the Navy so children like her could grow up in a safer galaxy, But safety wasn't just about defending humanity's borders. It was about proving that in a dark, uncaring universe, someone would come when you called for help. Helm, Mira said quietly. Plot a jump course to those coordinates. Maximum speed. Captain, her XO, Commander Hayes, stepped closer. We'll be going in blind, no backup. No intel on hostile forces. Mira met his eyes. I know. We could wait for... They don't have time to wait. Her voice was steel wrapped in compassion. Those are people out there, Commander. Scared, alone, believing no one is coming. She turned to face her crew. Every eye was on her. We're going to prove them wrong. Hayes hesitated only a moment. Then he nodded and stepped back to his station. All hands, Mira announced over ship-wide comms. Battle stations. We have a rescue to make. The Resolute came about, her engines flaring bright against the void. And as she leaped toward the unknown, her crew prepared to do what humanity had always done when faced with a choice between the easy path and the right one. They chose to answer the call. Against the odds, the Resolute dropped out of faster-than-light travel in a flash of blue-white energy, and immediately, the bridge erupted with data. Multiple contacts. Tactical Officer Rodriguez called out, his fingers flying across his console. 3 hostile vessels, Kresh configuration. They're circling the Lumeria like vultures. Mira's eyes locked onto the tactical display. The alien research vessel was hemorrhaging atmosphere from a dozen hull breaches, spinning slowly in the void. The raider ships, ugly asymmetrical things covered in reactive armor and weapons pods, were taking turns firing into her, playing with their prey. The Lumeria's shields are down, Chen reported. Life signs. I'm reading 17. They've lost 3 already. 17 souls. 17 beings who had done nothing wrong except exist in the wrong place at the wrong time. Captain, Hayes said quietly. We're outgunned 3-1. The Kresh vessels are frigate class. We're a corvette. I can count, Commander. Mira's jaw tightened. Tactical assessment? Rodriguez pulled up schematics. The Kresh run heavy frontal armor but weak aft shielding. They rely on overwhelming firepower and intimidation. They're not used to fighting opponents who fight back. Then let's give them something they're not used to. Mira stepped forward, her mind already racing through possibilities. Chen, broadcast on all frequencies. I want those raiders to know we're here. Aye, Captain. You're live. Mira's voice rang out across the void, cold and clear. Kresh vessels, this is Captain Mira Solon of the Terran Navy vessel Resolute. You are engaged in an act of piracy against an unarmed civilian ship. Cease fire immediately and withdraw or we will engage. For a moment there was only silence. Then laughter, harsh, guttural, filtered through a bad translator. Little Terran, a voice rasped back. You are 1 small ship. We are 3. Your species is new to this galaxy. You do not know the rules yet. The rule is simple, the strong take. The weak die. Turn around. This does not concern you. On the view screen, another blast tore into the Lumeria's hull. More atmosphere vented into space, freezing instantly into glittering crystals. Mira's eyes narrowed. Commander Hayes, I want firing solutions on all 3 vessels. Rodriguez, prepare missile tubes 1 through 4. Chen, keep an open channel to the Lumeria. I want them to know they're not alone. Captain, Hayes began, his voice careful. If we commit to this fight, we already committed the moment we answered their call. Mira turned to face her crew. I know what I'm asking. I know the odds. But those people down there sent out a signal believing no one would come. Believing they would die alone in the dark. I cannot prove them right. She paused, meeting each person's eyes in turn. But this is a volunteer mission now. We're outside our patrol zone. We have no backup. No one will blame you if you want to turn back. So I'm asking, who's with me? The bridge was silent for exactly 2 seconds. Then Rodriguez spoke up. Weapons hot and ready, Captain. Helm answering all ahead full. Lieutenant Park added from the pilot station. Medical bay prepped for casualties and potential survivors. Came Dr. Okafor's voice over comms. Hayes stepped up beside Mira, a slight smile on his weathered face. You know we're all idiots, right? The best kind. Mira allowed herself a brief smile before her expression hardened into something sharp and dangerous. All right then, let's show these bastards why you don't pick on the defenseless when humanity's watching. She raised her voice. All hands, this is the captain. In 30 seconds, we're going to engage 3 hostile vessels to protect civilians who can't protect themselves. We're going to be outgunned. We're going to be outnumbered. They're going to expect us to run. Her hand hovered over the commit button. But we're not going to run. We're going to fight, and we're going to win. Not because we're stronger, but because we're fighting for something that matters. Helm, take us in. Attack pattern Delta 7. Let's make some noise. The Resolute surged forward, her engines burning bright. Aboard the Lumeria, Dr. Vena clutched a support beam as another explosion rocked the dying ship. Around her, her colleagues huddled together. Some praying to gods they weren't sure existed, others simply holding hands in their final moments. Captain, the communications officer whispered, her voice barely audible over the alarms. I'm receiving a transmission. It's a response to our distress call. Vena's heart skipped. That's impossible. We're too far from... It's a Terran vessel. The officer's voice cracked with disbelief. They're here. They're here. Captain Morven pulled himself to the viewport with his remaining strength. Through the smoke and the spinning stars he saw it. A sleek ship bearing down on the raiders, smaller than any of them. Insignificant by comparison. They came, he breathed. By the makers? They actually came. A voice crackled over the speakers, female, confident, with an accent Vena didn't recognize but somehow found reassuring. Lumeria, this is Captain Solon of the TNV Resolute. Hold on down there. Cavalry's arrived. We're getting you out of this. But they're so small, Thane whispered beside Vena. 1 ship against 3. They can't possibly. The nearest raider vessel exploded. The Resolute had come in fast and low, using the Lumeria's bulk as cover. While the Kresh were still processing the audacity of a single ship challenging them, Rodriguez had put 2 missiles straight into the engines of the closest raider. First kill confirmed, Rodriguez shouted. 2 remaining hostiles breaking formation. They're adapting, Hayes warned. Both ships coming about. They're going to try to box us in. Then we don't give them the chance. Park evasive pattern, Charlie. Keep us moving. Rodriguez, I want sustained fire on the lead vessel. Make them think about defense instead of offense. The Resolute danced through space like she was alive, rolling and weaving as plasma bolts tracked her path. Some missed. Some didn't. The ship shuddered under impacts, but her shields held. Shield strength at 70%, Hayes called out. Target their weapon systems, Mira ordered. I don't need to destroy them. I just need to make them stop. The second raider, larger and more heavily armored, came about with surprising speed. Its forward batteries lit up and suddenly the Resolute was caught in a crossfire. Brace, Hayes shouted. The ship bucked violently. Sparks flew from a console. The lights flickered. Shields at 40%. Hull breach on deck 3 sealed. Casualties reported in engineering. Mira's hands gripped her command chair. They were taking damage faster than they could dish it out. The math was simple and brutal. They couldn't win a straight fight, so they wouldn't fight straight. Park, full reverse thrust. Chen, activate our distress beacon. Hayes spun toward her. Captain? They think we're here to save the Lumeria. Let's make them think they're winning. Draw them away from the civilians. That's going to put us in their kill zone. Mira's smile was cold. I'm counting on it. Rodriguez, load plasma torpedoes. Proximity fuse. The moment both raiders are in range, I want a full spread. Understanding dawned on Hayes's face. You clever. Now, Park. Make it look good. The Resolute broke off, engines flaring as if in retreat. The 2 remaining Kresh vessels, smelling blood, abandoned the Lumeria and gave chase. Aboard the research vessel, Vena watched in horror. They're running. The humans are running. But Captain Morven, staring at the tactical display, slowly shook his head. No. Look at their trajectory. They're not running away from the raiders. Then what are they? They're running away from us, and then Vena understood. The humans weren't fleeing. They were drawing the predators away from the prey. They're sacrificing themselves, she whispered. For us. They don't even know us, and they're... The space between the 2 raider ships erupted in a sphere of brilliant white fire.